And so many people misrepresent it that the world began to believe that it's official. It's like when you listen to this crazy, it's like when you listen to this crazy hip hop that's out now. When you listen to this crazy hip hop, you hear it so much, it start to become second nature. It start to sound, okay, it's all right. You know what I mean? Well, that's the same thing happened with religion. With religion, it begin to take a left turn. And when it begins to take that left turn, many people begin to go left with it, if you will. And when the more people to go left with it, the more people become convinced that that's what it is. You know, and so you may see me as in the title, I'm talking about Turtle Island. The reason why I'm talking about Turtle Island is because Turtle Island is represented as a Moorish doctrine. When you listen to Taj Tariq, yes, right, I'm still talking about Taj Tariq because there's a strong there's a long line of misrepresentation that has been distributed or demonstrated by Taj Tariq Bey and the Taj Tariqites. So every chance that I get, I am going to myth bust this Taj Tariq Bey myth that what he teaches is Moorish science according to the teachers of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I say he does not teach Moorish science in the form in which Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught during his day and time. I say he's way off. And so with Turtle Island, I'm saying that Turtle Island has nothing to do with Moorish science. So you can call Sabir, you can call Taj. I have nothing against them personally, but what I do have a problem with is that they associating their doctrine with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's doctrine that was taught within the in the body of knowledge of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You know, so it is what it is. And so I'm going to challenge all of these myths. I'm going to challenge all of these crazy beliefs. So what I did was, family, I put up a post, right? I did a post on Facebook. And the post, matter of fact, let me see if I can just screenshot the post. Everybody, all right? Everybody want to share this? What y'all going to do? What y'all going to do? Because I'm about to show up. I'm about to show up now. You know what I mean? I'm about to show up and show out now. So y'all might want to share this. This is for the brothers and sisters that may be affiliated with the Sunni community, that may believe that they are in a box as it relates to the garbs that women wear, the hijab, the covering, whatever you want to call it, the khimar, whatever you want to call it, kumar, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you might think you trapped into a box, but the truth today will set you free. The truth is going to set you free today. And this brother challenged me, and I can't wait till this brother get on this show today. Because the brother, I mean, he flat out went hard. And I want him to say the things that he said before this show. I want him to say all the things that he said before, because he said, I'm illiterate. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the Quran. He said a whole host of things. And so today he's going to have to show and prove. He's going to have to show and prove today that the Quran that we all read, it instructs women to cover themselves in the way that he says is appropriate and deemed fit according to the Quran. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you the picture that I posted. Let me first pull it up on. Let me pull it up on Facebook. That's what I'll do. I'll pull it up on Facebook so everybody can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me pull it up, and I want to share this with the people so y'all can see that this brother told me that he took down a lot of his posts because I think he realized he had put himself in a box. I think he realized that Tariq Bey is just not a screamer in yellow on Moorish World TV. You know what I'm saying? I think he realized that. And like, hold up, what I got myself into. Oh, yeah, you got yourself into a pickle this time, my brother. You got yourself into a pickle this time. You know what I mean? And now you're going to be dealt. Yeah, buddy. I got you, brother. You shouldn't have did this. I know you didn't mean it. I know you apologize. Okay, but you're gonna take this whooping today. You're gonna take it today, brother. But we ain't going for it. We ain't going for it because too many people have been misguided and too many people follow a misrepresentation of what they think is the truth. So I'm trying to pull it up right now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up right now so the people can see what I'm talking about. That's right. I'm gonna show you exactly what I posted. I may not pull it up in the exact fashion on Facebook because I'm about to X out my Facebook real quick, so I don't get no interruptions and choppy feed. So give me 1 second, and I'm gonna pull it up right quick. Okay, here we go. Bam, bam. Give me 1 second. We'll pull it up right quick. All right. So look, there's one. Let me get one more. Let me get one more picture. One more picture. Wait, work with me, fam. Work with me, fam. Because he gonna come up here. This is gonna be good. I like it. I'm trying to tell you. I love when somebody have a misunderstanding and then they stand so strong instead of being humble. Let me be humble. Be humble. Y'all not be humble? Okay. I'm gonna teach you how to be humble today. I'm gonna teach you how to be humble today. Because you think I'm just screaming and yelling on YouTube. Well, I'm gonna teach you how to be humble today. You're gonna learn today. If you ain't learned nothing, you're gonna learn today. And this, brother, I want to look. Okay, let's get it started. Okay, I got it. Let me get to my screen. I'm gonna screen share for you real quick, so and show you and open it up and show you what and show you what exactly I was referring to. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna screen share for you. So here we go. All right, so look here. So this was the post, right, on Facebook. And it says, although the Quran stresses modesty, it does not specifically require keeping the head and face covered. The hijab, it is used by Muslim women and is only necessary in the presence of non-related adult males. Now, that's a custom. Mind you, this is a custom. This is a custom that Muslims of the East follow. And this is the rules of the custom. The hijab is used by Muslim women and is necessary in the presence of non-related males, adult males. The hijab is a symbol of modesty, privacy, and morality, not specifically required in the Quran. The hijab is often confused with the niqab, which is a cloth that covers the head and face, leaving only the eyes to be seen. This picture one, or the burqa. And I could chop these words up to work with me, which is loose garment with veil holes in the eyes and cover the whole body from top to bottom. And that's this right here. Now. So the brother comes back and he says to me, and I'm going to bring that up in a minute. He says to me that, this is what he says to me. He says to me, you are incorrect. And he goes on to say that Quran specific for believing women to cover themselves with khimar, which covers from head to bosom. So he actually went and took the post down because I wanted to show you all the comments, but he took them down. He took them down, rightfully so. That was a good idea to take them down because what I was going to do is I was going to pick every word that he said and break it down according to the Quran. I was going to break it down according to the Quran. You know what I'm saying? Because for some reason, he thinks that I'm just someone that's yelling on YouTube and making crazy, agitating posts on Facebook, when in actuality, I'm trying to teach the people and wake the people up to a reality that they don't even know exists. And some do know exists, but they don't have the platform to give it to the people, in which I do. And so he came at me. He said, brother, let me tell him he can call right now. Now the intro is done. Okay, we ready. So the brother went in, he called me illiterate. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I said, okay, I laughed at him first. I said, okay. Then he went on, and then he gained some supporters. You know what I mean? He gained some supporters. And so I said, okay, let's just do it on Moorish World TV. Let's do it on Moorish World TV. Since you, and I give anybody this offer. If you see me saying something that's incorrect, or you think that it's incorrect, you can come to Moorish World TV and present your evidence. I'm going to be quiet, just like I'm going to do right now. When he calls in, I'm going to be quiet and let him talk, and then I'm going to present my facts and let him present his facts, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and it's going to be good. He about to call in a minute. He about to call in a minute. I ain't going to turn up like I used to. I'm going to relax. I ain't going to turn up like I used to. I'm gonna wait for him to call in. What's up, Quincy Robinson L? Islam. What's up, Arnell Bay? I gotta go to work right now. Yeah, I gotta go to work right now. I gotta brush this dust off, and I gotta go to work right now. Islam, Love Nelson. Sister Love Nelson got mad at me because I say Turtle Island has nothing to do with Moorish science. I don't know if that's why she got mad. But sisters, don't get mad at information. It's only information. It's only information. It's only information. Information to make you better. That's it. If I'm saying something and you find it don't jive with what you think is correct, do some research, and even you can come on Moorish World TV and shut it down. You can shut me down. Shut me down. Put me out of business. But that's just what it is. So while my brother come, let me say, first and foremost, I rise, giving praise to Allah. I give honor to his holy and divine Prophet Noble Ali. I give honor to everything that pertains to Moors. I definitely give a special honor to y'all in the chat, due to the fact that if you wasn't in the chat, there wouldn't be no reason for me to be right here. What's the point? You know, again, this presentation is twofold. The first segment is going to be about the hijab and the veil. You know what I'm saying? The hijab, the veil. You know, this brother tells me, he came at me on Facebook and says, I'm totally wrong. He comes at me on Facebook and he says that, look here, the Quran said women should cover themselves. That's what he says. You know what I'm saying? Completely. So that's what it is. So let me look in the chat real quick. Question: what's the difference between 501c3 and 508c3, and what is the Moorish Science Temple of America? Same as, and what is the Moorish Science Temple? And is it the same as Vatican City State? The Moorish Science Temple of America is a body politic that is supposed to metamorphose into a theocratical nation. Period, point blank. If you understand what a theocratical nation is, you understand that the Moorish Science Temple of America is set up like a theocracy. No Moorish Science Temple of America should not be under a 501c3. And if the Moorish Science Temple of America, any temple of any of its affiliates is set up under a 501c3, then it's not in line with the teachings of the Prophet Noble Ali, due to the fact that the Prophet Noble Ali's teachings is predicated upon not only spiritual development, but also earthly salvation that will grow out of political power and political taking our place in the affairs of men. And you're unable to do that under the banner or under the rules of a 501c3 to its fullest potential. There is no way you can do that. And so because the Prophet Noble Ali said that they were going to, the Moors at that time was going to put the Moors in a position for a national ballot to vote at a national ballot and to get 3,000 people behind one candidate to basically even put a person in a position to run for the national office, which would be the president of the United States. In order to do that, you cannot have a 501c3, because under a 501c3, you are not you don't have the ability or the flex muscle to support a candidate to that degree. It just doesn't work. So, of course, the Prophet Noble Ali wouldn't be with a 501c3.
voicemail, press 2.
Islam? Islam, one moment, brother. Let me make sure my battery don't die on me. Let me make sure my battery don't die on me. All right, we looking good. Here we go, fam. All right, my brother. So introduce yourself, and then let me know your position, and I'm going to state my position, and we're gonna get this going. Islam. Islam. Let me make sure everybody can hear you. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure everybody can hear you, because I like this part. So Islam, press 1 if y'all can hear the brother. Brother, the floor is yours. Let the people know who you are, brother, and let's get it.
Name's Isa Abdullah Mahdi. I'm a Moor, for the Temple 9. I'm a Muslim, been Muslim all my life. And I just want to clarify what you was talking about regarding the dress for the woman according to the Quran of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And I think you should state your position on it, because I don't have Facebook in front of me right now, so you can just state what your position is.
Absolutely.
And I'll respond to that.
Absolutely. So and I'll screen share it so that people can see it. I just read it a minute ago. I'll screen share it so that people can see it. And the post one is following. Although the Quran stresses modesty, it does not specifically require keeping the head and face covered. And you said basically that I was incorrect. Right? So so that's basically my premise, that the Quran does not support that.
All right, for everybody that's listening, we ain't talking about the Holy Quran Circle 7.
Absolutely.
Prophet
Islam.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Holy Quran of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I have referred you to Surah Nur,
right?
Ayat 31,
right?
And I gave you an English translation from Maulana Muhammad Ali, and that's a popular one used by the Nation of Islam. It's used by the Ahmadiyya Muslims, and other Muslims like it as well in America for English-speaking Muslims.
Right.
And you had an issue with that, and I want to clarify something. When I brought up the issue of literacy, I wasn't saying it to smirch. I was just saying it to state the fact that if you're relying on a translation, you're relying on that person's level of understanding and perception of what the word says. And one of the things that we have to be careful of, we're in the year 2018. A lot of people want to read what's going on in 2018 level of understanding instead of when the book was actually revealed and going according to, at that time period, what they was doing. The Quran is not a book of customs. It's a book of laws. And it comes in the long lineage of like the Torah, which is another book of laws. So when the people say, you know, the Quran this, the Quran that, you have to look at it not from the perspective of somebody who's coming out of 21st century America and being programmed under a westernized mind state. You have to go to the root. And the root is what was going on at that time period. And there's a context to the whole issue of wearing a khimar. And I want to clarify for everybody, in modern day parlance, everybody says hijab. The word hijab means a screen or barrier. And there is, in the Quran, there's an ayat that refers to that when the wives of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, were to speak behind a hijab, which is a screen. But that's not the same thing as talking about what a woman wears on her head, even though today they call it a hijab. The word actually in Surah Nur in Ayat 31 is khimar. And the khimar is specific to that time period, into a specific type of head covering. And specifically, the khimar covers their head, and it comes over the bosom. And if nobody knows what a bosom is, it's basically your chest, your breast, the female's breast, right? And if you look at the historical context at that time, what the idolaters was women used to wear. They used to walk around bare chested, and they might have a head covering at times, but they used to walk around bare chested at times as well. And this was an issue amongst the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he came there to set the law. That you had people who were non-believers that dressed a certain way, and then you had people who was the faithful, those who followed him. And when he got the revelation how the faithful woman was supposed to dress, it clearly states that they're to wear a khimar, and it's supposed to cover, if for anybody who's not familiar, I know a lot of sisters wear the turbans that covers their head. But if you're going towards what they're talking about in the Holy Quran, it was a head covering, and the tail ends of it came down over the chest, so the outline of the breast wouldn't be shown. So I posted a picture of Prophet Noble Drew Ali with the sisters, and he had, I believe it was his wife, Sister Pearl Ali. She was actually wearing a form of a khimar, which only her eyes were showing. And at other times she wore the khimar, and the other sisters wore the khimar with it. Face was showing, but you could clearly see that it was draped around their chest. They were covering themselves. And that's the example of what a faithful, believing woman was to wear according to the Quran of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, your thing is, you're saying, I think you're getting a little bit technical, because I just looked at your post. But you were saying about the face, right? Whether or not you're supposed to cover the face or not. Some scholars say that the face could be uncovered. Some scholars say the face can't be uncovered. But the whole root of it goes back to the word khimar. What does khimar really mean? Khimar comes from the same root as khamra. Khamra means to be intoxicated in the brain, or drunk, intoxicated. This is where in the Quran tells you that you shouldn't be intoxicated. And it shares the same root. But the khimar, in the historical context, it covered their head, it draped down over the head, covered the bosom. Now, whether or not the eyes was showing, or the eyes, or the eyes and face, the regular, the rest of the part was showing, that's up for debate by certain people. And I don't think you should be, dogmatic on it, due to the fact that we have, in a historical context, we have certain circumstances or situations where it says that married women actually cover their face and non-married women didn't cover their face. So it kind of gets a little bit into whether or not it was a specific interpretation or judgment at that time, whether the face should be covered or not. But my whole point when I was saying you was incorrect was that it appears that you're saying that the woman doesn't have to cover her head. She could just wear modesty, and modesty is a mental modesty. It ain't just what you wear, because there's people that can wear whatever, and they could be doing things, that they're not supposed to be doing. But I'm just going by what the words say. Khimar covers your head. It drapes down over your body. It comes and covers your chest. That's the point I was making. And I don't know if you was understanding, because the written word is not the same thing as the spoken word, in that we can't give the nuances of what we want to say in writing sometimes, especially a person who's not the best of writers. You know what I'm saying? So that was my point in that. There's no, I don't want no misinterpretation. You know what I mean? My point of view growing up was the woman was supposed to cover their face, especially if they was married. They let their eyes show, they cover their face. However, there's other people said, well, the face could show, but they just have to cover everything below the face, including the head is connected down to the breast. So that's the point I want to make, a clarification, just in case you were misunderstanding my point according to what the word says.
All right. Got you. Now, I'm telling you that you are emphatically wrong and in error. Same thing I said online. Let's get with it. Now, you say that khimar means, and see, this is where people make a grave mistake messing with me. Brother, I'm glad you came on here, because I watched you over the years when I was going at Shaka, when I was going at, what's the name, the brothers from the House of Consciousness, and you would make statements like, won't you get somebody else to do that? You didn't know what I was doing. But now you know what I was doing because they haven't spoke nothing about the more sense. This is, brother, you don't understand bait and switch, do you? But I'm going to teach you something today. I'm going to teach you something today. And I took this one personal because you've been doing this for over a year, sneaking in little comments back when I was talking to Shaka now. So here we go. Let's get with it. You talk about that the khimar covers, you said that the khimar means to cover the head and chest. Correct. I know you said it. You just said it here, and I'm going to repeat it. You said that khimar means to cover the head and chest. I'm telling you that you're wrong. You're emphatically wrong. Now, here's your statement. You are incorrect. This is the word khimar right here. You see khimar right here? This is the word khimar. This is khimar means to cover. It doesn't mean to cover head. Even though the khimar has now become commonly, this is my research, and you can bring any scholar you want after this, and you can go live with me and bring your research, and we can check it out. Even though khimar has now become commonly known in its restrictive sense as head covering for women, the original meaning of khimar, or plural, kumar, is anything by which a thing is veiled or covered. This is not restricted to the head covering or covering of the hair. For a man's turban is known as kumar. It covers a man's head. Now, let's go to the scripture and read what the scripture says. The scripture says this in what you read. In the scripture that you read, it says, and tell all the believing women to reduce some of their vision and guard their private parts, and not to expose their adornment, except what is necessarily appears thereof, and to wrap a portion of their head covers over their chest. Now that's what you read, to wrap a portion of their head covers. But the word that they have replaced with head, that they put in for head covers, is khimar, and khimar doesn't mean head covers. Khimar only means cover. It doesn't mean head cover, and I'm going to show and prove this in a minute. Right here, you're looking at the Arabic right here. This is khimar right here, if anybody can see it. I'm screen sharing right now. Khimar is right here. This means to cover, to veil. Right here in the same ayat, we got khimar, conceal. You see, and now when you start talking about things like this, we can go into the dictionary. Now check this out. The word khimar, and this is John Penrice in 1873 dictionary as a covering. The lexicographer is correct to note that most popular uses of the word as a veil of head and face. However, this is not the primary meaning. Information regarding that women wore at the time, you might know this, a jala, period of ignorance, or what that khimar consisted of, are only known to us by traditions and folklore, often centuries removed from the source and not the Quran. Many of these narratives are well known to be aggressive interpretations against women. The Quran is and undoubtedly remains the primary source of any interpretation. Quranic words, the word khimar or kumar comes from the root kamira, which means something which veils or conceals. So in other words, let's go down to the ayat again. Let's go down to the ayat again. We're going to go right to the ayat again and read one more time. The ayat says, and this is from the Noble Quran, and to enjoin believers, women to cast down their looks and guard their private parts and not reveal their endowments, except that which is revealed itself, and to draw the veil over their bosoms. Now, when you start to look at these other translations, you'll begin to see that it's only talking about one covering their bosoms. It says to draw the veil over the bosom and not to reveal their adornment. The whole ayat is not even about covering the head. The ayat is signifying the woman to cover their bosom. Even in the one that you are referring to, where it says that use your head covers, which doesn't make sense. Use your head covers over their chest, because the word head covers is not in the Arabic text. The Arabic text, it says khimar, and khimar, it would say use that which covers over thy chest. So in other words, a blanket could be a khimar, a sheet could be a khimar, a coat could be a khimar, a towel could be a khimar. A khimar only means that which covers. It doesn't mean that which covers head or chest. Do the etymology of the Arabic word, and then you'll understand what khimar means. Now let me break this down, and then I'll let you go in. The state, you state that the word khimar means head cover, or rather head and chest cover. And you state that basically this word makes it obligatory for a woman to wear a khimar to cover her hair and her chest. Let's analyze this. The correct meaning of the word khimar is in the command of 2431, chapter 2431, Surah 2431, for women to cover their hair. That's what you say. Now let's examine the correct meaning. Again, the Arabic word khimar means cover. Any cover is a khimar. A curtain is a khimar. A tablecloth is a khimar. That which covers the top of the table is khimar. A blanket can be called khimar, and so on. Equally, at any item of clothing, be it dress, a blouse, a scarf, or any other clothing, can be called khimar because it covers the body. The word khimar, which is used in the Quran for intoxicant, has the same root as khimar. Khimar, intoxicant, is given that name since it covers the mind. Traditional translator influenced by hadith and culture. Again, traditional translators influenced by hadith and culture claim that khimar in 2431 only has one meaning, that is veil or hijab. As a result, they mislead women into believing that 2431 commands them to cover their hair as well as you say to cover their chest. The fact that the word khimar can mean any cover and not just head cover is a matter which can be verified by consulting any Arabic dictionary. The 24 and 2431, God is telling women to use their khimar, cover, garment, which could be dress, coat, shawl, blouse, or scarf, and so on, to cover their cleavage. The command in 2431, regardless of the meaning of the word khimar, is to cover the bosom, the chest, and is not even referring to the hair in the first place. Now you can go.
All right. Number one, when I first started off, I told you what khimar meant, and I told you this, it shared the same root of being intoxicated. It means to cover. So the red herring, going off one thing and saying another, that doesn't go.
Brother, we can rewind it back. See, we're not going to get to that.
I didn't interrupt you, did I?
Yeah, you're going to get this work. You're going to get that.
That ain't getting no work. I let you talk. I waited, listened to everything you had to say. You said I'm going to give you a minute. And then it's going to be your turn. That's a discussion, right? So when you look at Arabic, you can't isolate and say, well, the word khimar, it just means cover. It could be a blanket. It could be anything. But in the beginning, the context of what was revealed in, right? And if you read the context of the ayah itself, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. Do you know what word they're using in there for bosom?
Which one question? We can do the question and answer in a minute because I'm gonna show you the context because I got the history.
Well, here's the thing. When you read it in context, right? It's telling the women, right? And I can read it in Arabic word for word if you want me to. You just
I don't need that. I don't need that. I just want you to go in so I can go.
Yeah. Well, the word khimar isn't by itself. It says be khimarin, right? Aula jawabihin, right? And the word juhabi, it means the breast, the bosoms, right? And how would a woman, especially, how would a woman just cover her breast and not cover her head? Number one, right? The context, if it's saying to you to cover over your breast, what is above a woman's breast? Her head. Above her chest is her head, right? If we look at archaeology, and I'll say only archaeology for the simple fact, if we're researching back in time to see the paintings at that time period of the women, at the time period that this was revealed, they had drawings, right? The women were shown covering their head, not just their breast, their head. If you go to Moorish Spain, right, they were covering their head and their breast, both. So to say because John Penrice, an Englishman, right, said it doesn't mean that doesn't hold no weight at all. If the root is the Quran explains itself.
Can I respond?
And the Quran is telling.
Can I respond?
Can I finish my thought?
Sure.
You're gonna respond to your show. I mean, I'm about 5 seconds away from finishing it. If you read from the beginning and tell the believing woman to lower their gazes and protect the private parts and not to expose their beauty except that which is apparent of it, and let them draw their veils, right, their veils over their bosoms, and the veils is head coverings. It comes down from your head over your bosom, or female. If a man is wearing what's called a turban or an emma, men wear turbans, and the emma, the tail of the emma hangs in the back. But we're talking about females here. So go ahead and respond to that.
So, first of all, I'm not saying that the woman head should go uncovered. That's not what I'm saying. So let's not even try to associate that with ancient Arabia or Moorish Spain, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in the context of this ayat, and I'm going to go to the history of the ayat, since it's apparently you may think that we have a disagreement as it relates to the history of the ayat. First of all, we have to ask ourselves, why was this ayat revealed? Every ayat in the Holy Quran in Mecca was revealed for an expressed purpose. Now, first of all, let me go back up. You said that, and I'll read it, 24:31. And enjoy believing women to cast down their looks and guards their private. This ayat is telling women to look down, and what you see, guard it. Guard your private parts and not reveal their adornment, which means not show your breasts and your private parts. And then it goes on to say, except which is revealed itself. What is revealed itself is your face, number one. Now, number two, or whatever else we want to interpret that to be. I don't want to do too much interpreting. I just want to let the ayat speak for itself. And then it goes to say, and draw a veil over thy bosom. So let's imagine this woman is, this ayat is telling the woman to look down, look at your private parts, look at your adornments, and draw a veil, cover your bosom, and not to reveal the adornment save to the husband. Look down, look at your bosom, look at your adornments, and cover it, and do not reveal it except to your husband. That's the ayat. Is not speaking to the complete dress of a woman. It's speaking to a period of time when people were so obnoxious with sexual practices that the woman had to cover herself in the way that not only did she demonstrate modesty before her husband, but even those followers had to be taught modesty because they had fallen so far away from the modest path. And then it goes to say, and not to reveal their adornment save to their husbands. Show not your private parts less only to your husband, or your fathers, or the fathers of their husband, or their own sons, or the sons of their husbands, and the brothers and the sons. And people might say, well, why would it be to the brothers? Well, during that time, a lot of families lived together. And so they're speaking of a household for the most part. Or the sons of their sisters, or the women of whom they associate, and those who are in their bondage. See, we're talking about a household, or male attendants in the service, free of sexual interest, or boys that are yet unaware of illicit matters pertaining to women. This is talking about covering private parts, not hair, nor should they stamp their feet on the ground in such a matter as that their adornments become unrevealed. Because back when they was selling their bodies or trying to get men to demonstrate these sexual practices, one of the practices was they wore loose clothes to the point where when they stomped their feet, the whole gown would drop to the ground, and it would entice the guys to move into the direction of being, sexually active in that manner. It says, believers, turn together, all of you, Allah, in repentance, that you may attain success. Now, that whole ayat has nothing to do with a woman covering her head. It has nothing to do, again, khimar only means cover. So in the context of which I just read, that when it says that let you draw a scarf over your bosom, draw a veil over your bosom, draw a khimar over your bosom. Khimar only means to cover in the Arabic language. So you say, oh, you can't isolate. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And if you was on the show, you would be able to see me take the word and isolate it as it represents. It doesn't say head cover. There's a word for head cover, and it's not khimar.
All right. The word for head is rais. And that's an Arabic, and if it's a female, it's raisa. It also means a chief or chiefess. And Hebrew, it's Rosh, Rosha, right? The thing is, you want, let me ask you this, and I'm being totally respectful to you. Are you literate in the Arabic language?
I'm literate enough to knock this out the box. Absolutely. I'm well qualified to knock this out the box.
Right. So
I don't need to talk. We're talking about one topic.
No, hold on. I'm not gonna. If you didn't read a translation, you'd be able to read it on your own and know what it's saying.
I just told you I am smart enough to knock this out of the box. And any other topic that you want to debate me on.
Okay, that's the answer. That's the answer. Okay.
I'm not fluent in Arabic, but I'm fluent in common sense.
All right. So you want to? Here's the thing. What you're doing though. Pick out some words you said. You said it does not say head covering, right?
It doesn't.
Head covering. And I told you the word for head is right. So you said there's a word for head covering, and that's not the word, right? So what you're doing, you're imputing upon the Arabic language the way you're thinking in English. You think because in English you have to say head covered in the Arabic language.
I don't think that. Stop putting that on me. I don't think that.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing.
Look, that's what you're thinking I'm doing. I'm telling you that khimar does not mean head cover.
I'm telling you exactly what the word is saying, right? You're saying, well, the word khimar, I told you what the root was from the beginning. You're trying to dispute whether or not it means to cover your head in the context of that ayat, right? So if we just take what you're saying, right? If we just take what you're saying that basically when the ayat was revealed,
I got the history. Come on.
When the ayat, no. We're going to use common sense or sound right reasoning because everybody don't got common sense, right? What we're going to say right here is that when the ayat was revealed, that the women was, and I also said that the women used to show their breast off sometimes, same way they do today, right? But you mean to tell me that Prophet Muhammad, right? He said just, when this ayat is revealed, that only put something like a scarf over your breast and the head was uncovered. What you're saying?
Brother, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this ayat was speaking to a specific concept. And the concept was not having women expose their breasts or their private parts. In other words, their adornments. This ayat doesn't speak to the head covering, brother. As you're trying to make it do. This ayat don't speak to that. I'm not saying that women should not cover their head. I'm telling you that you are wrong.
Listen, it's not about being right or wrong.
Yes, it is.
No, it ain't. Because what you're saying, the position you're taking is the same position that the Europeans have been taking, right? And
there we go. Play the race card.
Hold on.
Play the race card.
Let me finish. You're going to understand what I'm
Bring
saying,
some
right?
information, brother. You out of order.
How am I out of order?
Brother, you talking about the European. I'm telling you that khimar, I'm telling you that khimar only means cover. You telling me that khimar means cover the head and chest. I'm telling you, you wrong.
No.
Now prove to me that khimar means cover the head and chest.
Don't do that. No, don't do that.
That's what you said, brother.
From the beginning, khimar means to cover.
No, you said cover head and chest. You even said it in your post.
Together, that's what it says. That's what it says.
Brother.
I mean, what else does it say?
Brother.
It's not by itself.
Brother.
It's saying both words.
It doesn't say that, brother. So, I just showed it on my.
I just read it in Arabic, dude.
I don't care what you read. I can read it in French, brother. It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say what I just said.
It doesn't say cover the head and chest. No.
I told you what the word for breast is, B.
Brother.
How could you escape that?
Hey, brother, listen to me. Listen to me. I am screenshotting right now. The whole thing broke down right here. It's screenshotted right now. Can you see the screenshot? It's
I'm not on a computer. I'm on my phone.
Look,
so I'm not looking at the screenshot.
I have the whole thing broken down right here in Arabic, brother.
Yeah.
It does not have a word for chest except after khimar, which represents covering the bosom, chest. It means cover the bosom. It has no, brother, come on, brother.
So the bosom's not a chest?
That's what I'm saying. That's the only time it mentions.
Chest.
Listen to what I'm saying. You're missing my point. I said that khimar is not representative, is not a representation of covering the head and chest as you stated. It only means covering. And in this context, it's telling the woman to cover her chest except for in front of her husband, her brother, etc., etc. This has nothing to do with the head.
Okay. So according to you, right?
According to the Quran.
No, according to the Quran, that's not what it means. Let's pick this apart because you're doing two things here, right? You're trying to put two thoughts together and then mix and match them and come back to what you're saying. Look, if you read the whole thing, right, from the beginning.
I'm going to read it again. I will.
I'm going to read it.
Sure.
I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it in English. I'm going to go to the same thing that I posted on Facebook so that way there's not going to be no misconception of what was posted. All right? And say to the believing women that they lower their gaze and restrain their sexual passions and do not display their adornment except what appears thereof, and let them wear their head coverings over their bosoms. And they should not display their adornment except to their husbands, or their fathers, or the fathers of their husbands, or their sons, or the sons of their husbands, or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, or their women, or those whom their right hand possesses, or guileless, male servants of the children who know not women's nakedness, and let them not strike their feet, so that their adornment that they hide may be known, and turn to Allah, O believers, so that you may be successful. All right, I read the whole thing. The main part we're dealing with is khimar. I didn't say the word khimar itself means head. I didn't say that. I said it means a covering. I said in the context of this ayat, in the context of the ayat, the way the ayat is presented, it means to cover your head and let the covering come off over your bosom for a female. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm telling you, you're wrong. I'm telling you, you're wrong.
How could I be wrong? That's what the word says.
No, that's not what the word say. Head covering is not the word for khimar.
Okay, so check this out, right? Check this out. So according to your rendition of it, right? The women just unveiled their breasts in front of their fathers, in front of their husbands, fathers, in front of the rest of the family. They could show their breasts.
No.
But when it came to the average Joe on the street, they couldn't show their breasts.
No. According to this ayat, it's speaking to a specific practice and a specific behavior. That's it. It's speaking to a specific practice and a specific behavior of this era of time. And it was revealed to Prophet Muhammad to correct this behavior by the way of this ayat. So you have to know the history of the ayat to know what Prophet Muhammad was speaking to. It wasn't speaking to trying to get.
You want me to give you the history of the ayat? You want me to give you the history of the ayat?
Come on with it. I got it. I got it loaded up and waited. What was going on to make this that Allah revealed this ayat? What was going on? What was happening?
According to the hadith, the Prophet himself is reported to have told Asma, his wife, Aisha's sister, when she appeared before him in thin clothes, in which parts of her body could be seen, "O Asma, when woman attains a puberty, it is not proper that any part of her body should be seen except this." And he pointed to his face and the hands, right? And that's in the hadith. So you're telling me something totally different. And I told you, if we want to go to the context of it, we have to go to the historical period of what it meant in that time. Not what you want it to mean today.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. Okay, I'm gonna go back again. Again, this is the word, because somebody just said the Quran said cover the head and bosom. It doesn't say that. The Quran does not say that. The Quran says this. Let me give it to you. The Quran says this. And I want you to, we might be used to reading something, and we might be used to hearing something that is influenced by what we've been told to believe. But this is what the Quran say. And I'll read it slow. "And I enjoin on believing women to cast down their looks and guard their private parts, and not to reveal their adornments, except that which is revealed, and to draw veils over their bosoms." Draw veils over their bosoms. It's telling the woman to cover herself. It's not telling a woman to cover her head and her bosom. This ayat is not speaking to that. It goes on to say, "and not to reveal the adornments save to her husband of her fathers." Now, the way that the manipulators do, they switch it up, and they use the term khimar and flip the script on you and say this right here: "All that which believe in women to reduce their vision, guard their private parts, and not expose their adornments, except which is necessarily appears, and to wrap a portion of their head covers over their chest." That is a lie and a misleading interpretation, because head covers is not in the Arabic text. Khimar, this word means cover, not head cover. But that's the fact.
And let me ask you this.
Head cover is not in the Arabic text. One moment. The Arabic text is right here. This is the word. This doesn't mean head cover. This means khimar, to cover. So in the sense of what I'm speaking of, it means to cover their chest and not to expose. Not their head covering. It doesn't mean that. This is khimar right here. This is khimar.
Let me ask you
there is no such thing as head cover within the text of the Arabic.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, brother. What's the Arabic word for head covering then? Since you're saying it doesn't mean that, and you know it. So let me hear you say what the Arabic word for head covering is that.
Okay, we're going to pull it up because I don't have it on the top of my head, and I'll pull it up for you. Give me a second. I don't have no problem with pulling it up. I'm telling you that khimar don't mean head covering.
We already went through that. You said it don't mean that. So what's the
I'm
other
about
word
to pull
for
it up.
All right.
Pull it up for you. Give me 1 second. Depends what you want to do. Do you want to?
Bro, man, go ahead, man. Just tell me.
It's not khimar. It's not khimar, brother. You know it's not khimar. Like even hijab means veil.
You know what's funny, right?
I don't know. Brother, I'm telling you, it's not khimar. You can use.
No. You said you know it, and it's another word. So you gotta show and prove what you said.
I'm telling you that it's not khimar. You know, you can. I can't pronounce. What is the niqab, the hijab, the burqa?
You just throwing words out there, bro.
No. This is what I'm saying. I don't know the exact. I'm telling you, I don't know the exact word, but I know it ain't khimar. So if you know the exact word, put it out there.
Hey, bro, I told you from the
beginning.
You don't know, do you?
You don't know, do you? You don't know, do you?
Listen. Instead of going back and forth, right?
Do you know the word?
Yeah.
What is it?
The word is khimar.
It's not no khimar.
It means head covering. Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's like, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example of something. It's called idiom usage, right? Idiom usage, right?
I'm about to give it to you in a minute. But I had it in my English, but I'm about to give it to you in a minute.
Let me get the mic for a minute, right? When we talk in American English, right? We tend to use a lot of ebonics and slang, right? If I tell you, yo, I'm gonna be at my crib, come holler at me, right?
Nah,
does that mean I'm literally gonna be in a baby's crib? Does that mean that? It's called idiom usage.
No,
right?
No.
So in the Arabic language, which is not the English language, they have idiom usage. And when you say khimar, right? And it was funny. I got the dictionary of Arabic language out of it, right? It's one of the oldest dictionaries. And when you look it up, it'll tell you the word khimar or khumar. That means head cover, scarf, covering.
Bro, I just showed you don't mean that. I'm about to...
veiled.
Okay.
That's what it says. It's used 7 times in the Quran.
Okay, give me one second.
I'm still waiting for the word that says head covering.
Reyes, hold up. I can't pronounce these words like you, but I'm about to give it to you right now.
I mean,
I'm about to give it to you right now. I'm gonna give it to you right now. Hold on one second. It's not what you say it is. I'm gonna give it to you right now, and I'm gonna screenshot it so everybody can see it. Right here. You know the word for head?
Rice.
Huh?
Rice. Yeah, I just said it.
Rice. Okay. Okay. Now watch this. Why is not rice? Why is rice not in the context of this right here?
I don't know what you're looking at, bro. I'm on the phone.
Why is it not in the context of the Quran?
Oh, why is it not in the context of the Quran?
Yeah, why is it not there?
At the time period, if you said khimar, everybody knew what you was talking about. You was talking about a face veil or head veil.
Bro, what you're doing now? What you're doing now is one of the most popular things that people do. What they do is they flip the script, and now you're trying to say that, okay, they didn't do that back then. They used khimar, brother. Khimar just means covers, brother. You can't get away from that, brother. I want you to come on the show.
No. Because you think the Arabic language is wooden. It only has one definition. See this right here? It has different shades of meaning, bro. Just like if you change a diacritic, which is a vowel point, right, for people who are reading it. If you change a diacritic on it, right, it's going to have a totally different meaning. It could mean intoxication, right? When you're speaking it, it's going to mean everybody's going to know. If you're saying khimar, it's going to know people talking about something to cover their face or their head. They know that. And here's the thing, because I want people to understand what we're talking about.
Oh, you get your confidence up, so I'm going to have to go back on you down.
Bro, man, I gave you the mic, man. We going back and forth. Ain't no need to go over each other, man. We both, man. We're going to share. I get a chance, you get a chance to talk. We got all day here. You know what I'm saying? If they was walking around with sheets, let's just say sheets. They're walking around with sheets in their hand. What are they doing with it? They're saying that the only time they had to put the sheet was over their chest and not on their head. That doesn't make no sense according to the ayat. It doesn't, not even according to the ayat. It doesn't make common sense. It doesn't make historical sense. The women used to wear it over their head, right? If they used to expose their breasts because they took it apart, right? So they could expose their breasts. They could take it and wrap it around the top of their nose where only their eyes could be revealed, and it comes around the other side and they wrap it around and it goes over their breasts.
Brother, that is a form of khimar.
In East Africa, bro. It's the same thing. They still do, even if they're not Muslim, sisters are doing it.
Brother, that is, let me say this, and then I'm gonna be done with it because we just going around the circle now. Again, brother, that is a form of khimar. A form of khimar can be a covering of the head, a covering of the chest, a covering of the body. That is a form of khimar. That is not, khimar doesn't mean specifically to cover the head and the body. That is a form of khimar. What are
Check it
you
out.
talking about?
I agree with you in part. It's a form of khimar, but in the Holy Quran and Muhammad, it means to cover the head and the chest.
Brother, that's not so, because the reason why that's not so, because only the word khimar is mentioned in the Arabic text. There is nothing else associated with it. It would have to be another association. Khimar does not mean what you're saying it means. I would love for you to come on the show and break it down so we can see
Where
in living color.
Where you at? Baltimore?
Absolutely.
Baltimore? You're gonna be out April 22nd. You're gonna be out there in DC.
Absolutely.
Inshallah, I'll be out there.
Absolutely, brother. The point of the matter is, you would have to show that khimar is associated with another word that makes it mean head covering, because in the classical Arabic sense, khimar only means covering.
No, it only means covering. No, it means covering, and in the context of the words you use with it, it'll tell you what you're supposed to be covering,
brother.
So
that's right. It tells you to cover your bosom.
If it's telling you, and let them draw, right, their khimars, right, and over their breasts, that doesn't mean drape it down from your head and let it drape down over your breast.
Hey, brother, again.
That doesn't mean that.
No, it means you take something to cover your breasts.
Come on.
You take khimar.
Walk around with your head showing, right?
Hey, brother, brother, I'm not saying the head is not covered.
Listen.
Brother,
check it.
Let me say it again.
They're not saying that it doesn't mean the head is not covered. Why are you even having a disagreement?
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the head is not covered. I'm saying that this ayat speaks to a woman using khimar to cover her breast. Khimar only means a covering. Khimar doesn't mean a head scarf, a head covering. A head scarf can be a khimar. A head scarf can be a khimar to cover the arm. A head scarf can be a khimar to cover the breast. But that's not what this is saying.
No, that's what it is saying.
No.
There wasn't no woman walking around just covering their breast. They were covering from their head down over their breast.
Brother,
and just
let me read it again, brother. I'm going to say it one more time, brother, and I'm going to be done with it. Brother, this is what it says. I'm going to read it one more time, and I'm going to be done with it. It says, and tell the faithful women to cast down their looks and guard their private parts, and not to display their charms. This is another translation, Al-Quran. Except what is outward, and let them draw their scarves over their bosom. This word scarf relates to khimar. Let them draw their scarves, let them draw their khimar over their bosoms and not display. And now in other translations, it say, let them use their head covers. This relates to khimar. But that's relating to that is coming from the head. That's just a different translation that agrees with the Hajib, where the translator used the Hajib to get women to try to cover up and treat themselves like this. You know what I mean? Peeking through the veil. You know, but in the classical sense, it only means as in the Noble Quran. It says not to reveal the adornments and such what is revealed, and to draw their veils. The veils in this context represents khimar. So khimar can be a veil, khimar can be a scarf, khimar can be a blanket, but it's speaking to women to cover themselves in front of strangers. That's what it's speaking to.
Okay, so I mean,
but I'm done with it, brother.
Man, it's a lot of semantics going on here. And a couple points need to be brought up, man. You still the way you're reading it, right? And I don't know why you're disagreeing with me, but the way you're reading it, right? I'm gonna close. The way you're reading it doesn't make sense,
brother. I know because you stuck in an era that you want to believe that this Quran is trying to tell women to keep themselves fully covered and peeking out of a veil, when that's not what the Quran is saying.
Nah, bro. Nah. I gave you the distinction. I gave you the distinction. Hold on. I gave you the distinction in the beginning. Brother. I said some say. Hold on. I said some say cover from the eyes down. You know what I'm saying? Cover the whole face. Some say the face could be shown, but the head and the veil drapes over the bosoms. Right? So,
but that's not a khimar. That's a form of khimar, brother. That's not khimar. That's a form of khimar.
The khimar itself is the veil that's draped over the head. Whether you want to open your breast and walk around with it, or open with your breast showing, or you want to drape it around your eyes, or you want to drape it over your chest. And you say the classical Arabic, you don't even know classical Arabic.
Brother.
I asked you, what's the word then for head covering? Since you're saying it's not khimar, you can't tell me. You throw.
Brother, I just told you. Brother, listen to me. I am not an Arabic linguist, okay? But I know for a fact that khimar doesn't mean to cover the head and the chest.
And what does it mean? No.
I just told you what it means.
Right there. Stop. No. Stop right there.
I just told you what it means.
Hold on, stop. The ayat tells you to cover the head and the chest.
The ayat doesn't tell you that.
Not the word khimar by itself, because if we're talking Arabic outside of the Quran, you could be talking in a different context.
Brother, the Quran is not speaking to what you're saying. You're saying that.
So hold on. You want everybody to believe that I'm the only one that's saying this, and I made this up.
No, we got millions of people.
Hold on, stop. In the last 1,400 years, the people who was close to the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who spoke the fluent Arabic Fusha, not the garbage Ebonics they speak today in the different countries, that's not what it meant.
No, I'm telling you that there's
historical archaeological records. We see the women draped up in that type of format. But I'm making it up, and I'm reading into it.
Brother, I'm telling you that there's millions and millions of people that cover themselves with whole garments and peek through veils. There's millions of people that cover themselves with whole garments and peek through screens. There's millions and millions of people that bomb themselves in the name of Allah. There's millions and millions of people that do a whole sorts of a host of things in the name of Allah. But the Quran does not support it.
Come on, man. Check this out, right? You say the Quran doesn't say that, but you can't give me the word bad current. Okay, let's put that to the side.
Bro, I just told you. Here,
what you saying? Hold on. Here's what I'm getting from everything you're saying, right? For the last 1,400 years, everybody's been wrong, but you, Penn Rice, and a few others are right, because you're saying it don't mean that. It just means to cover your breast.
No, I'm telling you that you are going with those who have oppressed women. You are agreeing with those that has systematically organized Islam into a religion that has people oppressed in such a way that it became the norm. I want to,
okay.
I want to see.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Check this out. Why did Prophet Noble Drew Ali? Why did he have the sisters dressing the same way the Quran says?
Bam! Got you.
What you call it, a costume?
Got you.
You call it a costume?
Got you. You ready? Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. And I'm going to show you. And yep, you're absolutely right. I'm going to show you why. Now, when you want to speak of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, make sure you get it right. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, when you look at the picture of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, this is just not a regular picture where the sister is sitting with the veil covered, her face right here. This is just not a regular picture. You know when this picture was taken? Do you even know? What picture was that?
Go ahead.
What picture was it?
I said teach, go ahead.
Yeah, well, this picture was at the first annual convention. And you know what they did at the first annual convention? Let me share it with you. During the Moorish convention, more than 1,500 Moroccan costumes were rented to Europeans who seen the program and knew the Moors were to have a costume parade. But nevertheless, we were successful. The Europeans went to buy all the Moroccan or Arabic or whatever you want to call it, costumes, so the Moors could not buy them and have a successful parade. And so in the Moorish Guide, October 26, 1928, it was written that we were successful in obtaining through certain Asiatic costume dealers all the costumes wanted. This was during the time of the convention. They didn't walk around like this every day.
All right, brother. Now let me get on that now. Thank you for the historical context.
The sister did not walk around like that every day.
Thank you for the historical context for Prophet Noble Drew Ali, right? Okay, what you call costume is actually the Rotarian question, Rotarian complexion of Moors, right? The Moors were not wearing bow ties, brother. They weren't wearing European westernized suits, brother.
Yes, they were.
Right?
Okay.
That's how your ancestors was dressing before the Europeans had them dressing different. So when Prophet Noble Drew Ali, when you say the Moorish ball, what you call costumes, if you're talking like that, we could say the best is a costume, but we know that's the national headdress of the Moorish Science Temple of America, right?
You ever see Prophet Noble Drew Ali in a suit?
Correct. Yeah, I see him in a suit.
All right.
There's many pictures of him in a suit.
Okay, thank you.
What I'm saying to you, at that Moorish ball, and they still have Moorish balls today. Brothers dress up as their ancestors dressed up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right. So if they're dressing how their ancestors dressed up, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali was on the scene at that time, it's not hearsay because we got the pictures, the footage, right? The photographs to see exactly how he wanted his nation to be represented at the time at the Moorish ball. He had the sisters represented the Quran, sort of north.
Do you know what a ball is?
24, Ayat 31 explains it.
Brother,
so,
do you know what the Moorish ball is?
Noble Julia had them sisters dressing like that at the Moorish ball. That was a plain example.
It's called a ball. Like. It's called the Moorish ball for a reason. It's the Moorish ball. Those are the garments our ancestors wore, of course. But that still don't change the fact that khimar only means to cover. Still doesn't change the fact.
Let me ask you this: Is Prophet Noble Drew Ali a good example for the people, for the Moors?
Perfect example.
Perfect example for the Moors. Does he know more than you or me regarding Moorish science and the way he brought it, the foundation what he brought?
That's right.
Okay, so if as brothers in America, right? In America, if we was to say, well, with the Moorish Science Temple of America, we would say, well, let's put the prophet up front. And how would the prophet want us to do things, right? And he gave you an example at a Moorish ball, right, in the spirit of their ancestors, and he showed how the sisters was dressing, and it reflects the same thing that Ayat in the Quran 31. Sort of 24 or 31, and the Quran says, I mean, let's not talk about common sense. Let's talk about reasoning. The rationale that Prophet Noble Drew Ali looked at that same ayat that I'm talking about, you're talking about, and the sisters dressed accordingly. And this is at a time when Islam was a baby, and Islam was a baby. It wasn't fully grown in America, understanding. Most people was in Christianity. Right, and he had sisters showing improvement, and brothers too, because the brothers was dressed up in their ancestors' Moorish tie as well. This is what our people look like, and you're telling me it doesn't mean what it means, but that's the same exact way that I'm saying that they was dressing that in the Quran, according to the Quran, and you're saying don't mean that,
bro. I'm telling you that it's a ball. It's a Moorish ball. They were dressed like that for a special occasion at the ball. The normal dress for Moorish Americans is a turban, fez, whether it be a suit. Sisters may wear dresses, or they may dress in traditional Asiatic garbs. It was a ball. It was a ball. Okay. What are you talking about?
No, what are you talking about? Because it's a Moorish ball dressed in the spirit of you, what your ancestors wore.
But it's a ball.
Walking around wearing suits. Doesn't matter if it's a ball. It's an example.
Why is Prophet Noble Drew Ali walking around wearing suits?
Say it again?
Prophet Noble, we walking around wearing suits because Prophet Noble Drew Ali walked around wearing one. That's why. You said he the best example, right?
Okay. That's why you wear the bow tie. That's where you wear.
Absolutely.
Because he wore. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, but when he gave you example how your ancestors dress, you don't want to pay that no mind.
No, I'll wear that when I go to the ball. All right.
That's it.
Now I wear it when I get ready. No, you got to understand. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he epitomized that there is no compulsion in Islam. He epitomizes that.
You know something? All right, let me tell you something, man. We're going to agree to disagree, man.
Hey, bro, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do your wife, are you married?
Yeah, I'm married.
Is your wife veiled up like that?
She covers her head and she covers her breast.
I mean, brother. And so that's the khimar.
Yeah, it's a cover, yeah.
Whether you like it or not, brother. I believe a person can do whatever they feel comfortable with, whether you like my position or not. My position is that the Quran do not dictate a dress code for females. The Quran dictates modesty, and this ayat is indicative of something that was happening during that era of time that made that influenced this ayat to be revealed. Period. Point blank.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because what you're doing is transforming something somewhere else, right? And here's the thing: if you was just talking about the circle 7, you got that. I wouldn't even say her. You got that. If you said the circle 7, this tells a sister to be modest, and that's it. I ain't got nothing to say about it. That's what the circle 7 say. You saying the Holy Quran of my Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said something else. That's where the issue is, because there's no evidence of what you're saying.
But there's no evidence in what you're saying. You ask me what means head covering, and you don't even know the word.
Muslims on the planet, man. Over 1 billion Muslims.
Right? That's right. And guess how many are misled?
Hold on.
Probably 999,000.
Yeah, okay. There's more women than men, right? And if you go to all the Muslim countries, the ones that ain't been contaminated by these Europeans, right? If you go to all them, even sisters that's not Muslims in Ethiopia dress like that. They're Christian. They're Coptic.
Brother, I'm not. Listen. Before Islam had its inception by name, sisters was dressing like that. So we can't blame it solely on Islam. They was dressing like that on the continent which we know as Africa today before the inception of Islam. That's why Islam was so easy to spread, because it already agreed with the cultural overtones in which they were living. They was desert people.
There's no birth record to Islam, man. Islam didn't start when the Quran was.
Brother, I said the inception as the title or the word known as Islam, from the inception by Muhammad. Yes, Islam has no beginning, no end. I agree. The point of the matter is that is desert garbs. Those garbs was for the people of deserts, to protect them before Prophet Muhammad.
Let me ask you something. Right now, 2018, how should the sisters be dressed?
Huh? Oh, hey, let me tell you something. Man, shout out to my now. I think a sister should be dressed in modestly loose-fitting clothes. I think a sister. I don't think a sister need particularly to have her head covered all the time. I don't agree with that, because I believe that we are from a geographical location where there was different sorts of cultural overtones. Some cultures cover their heads, some cultures didn't. Some cultures had short hair, some had long hair. So I mean, you look at the indigenous people of America, which we all are part of that culture too. You know what I mean? So I know that Allah did not dictate our women to grab the complete covering as we see our sisters in today. But now, I'm not saying that it's wrong. If that's what somebody want to subscribe to, that's on them. But let's not put that on
top. The Moors did it, because we ain't talking about all cultures. We talking about Moors.
That's what I'm saying.
When you talk about Moors got a specific culture. It didn't start in 1913. It preceded 1913. So when we talking about Moors, how did Moors dress? Because here's the thing. If you're not in the Rotarian complexion of your ancestors, right? If you're not that, if me and you was walking down the block, and sometimes because I work, it's kind of dirty. I don't wear my whites. I don't wear certain type of clothes all the time because I'm working. I'll get dirty, right? The thing is, if me and you was walking around these streets, right, and we just wearing the regular clothes, right, Levi, whatever the brand is today, right, and we walking down the street. What's to distinguish you from the next Asiatic who's not a Moor, right? He's just walking around the street. What's the thing that distinguish you from that person if you're not in your cultural attire, your national headdress, or what the Moorish culture promotes?
What distinguishes me, and until a person can talk to me, he won't be able to distinguish me.
Okay.
He won't be able to distinguish me. But guess what? Guess what though?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay, because I see my Prophet Noble Drew Ali wearing a sombrero when he's over there on south of the border. So it's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We see Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
You're saying the sisters to just you know.
His phone and went dead on him. His phone and went dead on him. Anyway, I can't even get into the part 2 of the show. The brother got me a little bit worked up because sometimes I go around in circles, trying to explain something. But whether people like it or not, of course, head covering, I don't know the word for head covering. I know Rayas is head. I'm trying to find covering, and covering mean see, I didn't forgot that word already. and what we talking about? You didn't mess me up. You didn't mess me up. I think of the word right there. Khimar. You know what I mean? So it would have to be right as khimar. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know, man. This is crazy. This is crazy to believe that women got to walk around covered as if we in the desert. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Again, I'm gonna make my point. Khimar is known to be the head covering for women, but the original meaning of khimar, it only means to be covered or veiled. Period. Point blank. And if anybody try to make it something different than that, then what they doing is they manipulating the scripture. They're manipulating the scripture, and the scripture reads as follows. The scripture reads as follows. Let me screenshot it. Maybe it called back. The scripture reads as follows, right here. And to enjoin all believing women, cast down the looks and guard their private parts, and not reveal their adornments, except that which reveals itself. That's one topic. And to draw their veils over their bosom. Veil is a representative of khimar. That's one translation. Go to the next translation. This translation, it had covered their head coverings over their chest and their bosom. So this would make them, this is what they injected head covering right here. Covering. They injected that. And that's why you have the sisters walking around looking in such a way that we see today like this. Because they injected, superimposed that. When in reality, the Noble Quran says to draw a veil over their bosoms. And that the term veil is indicative of khimar, not head covering. And I don't know, I guess, man, people believe what they want to believe over a period of time. They believe what they want to believe, and they're gonna do what they want to do because that's what they're used to. But in reality, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So this brother say, I'm reading an English translation. Brother, I'm not reading the English translation. I'm reading the same thing that the brother read. You know what I mean? Here's the breakdown right here. This is the word. This is the word. This is the word. Where you see head covering, where you see veil, where you see scarf, wherever you look in the Quran, where you see that, this says khimar. And this word khimar only means covering. That's it. We can't make it something more than what we want it to be. And the brother mentioned about Ray went through head. This is right here. Reyes. I'm not an Arabic scholar. I don't know all this stuff, but I do know that where you see head scarf, where you see a veil, where you see covering, it's the word khimar. And if you look up the word khimar in the Arabic dictionary, which he says he has, It only means covering. Has nothing to do with the head, has nothing to do with the feet, have nothing to do with the chest. A blanket could be a khimar. A shirt could be a khimar. A towel could be a khimar. But he's trying to say that khimar means head covering. That is not true. That is not true at all. Matter of fact, let me show it to you. There's the word. This is the word khimar. That doesn't mean head covering. So he said, so what word means head covering? Of course, I know, I don't know exactly. I'm not a linguistics with, I'm not an Arabic linguist, you know what I'm saying? But I do know where you see covering, you see this. Where you see scarf, you see this. Where you see even where they put head covering, you see this. So what do? You look up the word from an Arabic dictionary, khimar. And as it says, even though khimar has now become more commonly known in its restrictive sense as head covering for women, the original meaning of khimar is anything by which a thing is veiled or covered. This is not restricted to head covering or covering of the hair. Man's turban. For a man's turban is also known as kumar. Khimar for women, kumar for male, as it covers a male head. And that's why I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. Women in those days used to cover their heads with the khimar, throwing its ends upon their backs. This left the neck and the upper back of the chest, along with the ears in the manner of the Christians. Now, this is the khimar which he's talking about. However, khimar is called, it really is indicative of covering or veil, period, point blank. See, the brother got me a little bit worked up, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not fluent in Arabic. I'm not fluent in Arabic at all. But come on now. Come on now. It don't take a rocket scientist, you know what I'm saying, to be able to pick apart a word. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to pick apart a word and then say, okay, let's find out what that means. And it doesn't mean head covering. Well, looks like I'm not going to get to the second part of the show. I let the brother get me a little bit worked up and lose my cool. You know what I'm saying? Let me lose my cool for a little bit. But all is well. We're going to get to this Turtle Island thing next go around. Let's see if anybody want to call in. Let's see if anybody want to call. I know we used to what we used to. You know what I mean? And the thing is that we want to stick to what we used to. But I mean, we probably got situations that we don't want to be wrong. Oh, yeah, we got people watching. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the same thing, my brother. Dad, shout out to my brother Folk the L. He just sent me a text. Shout out to Folk the L. Let me see if I can put the phone number up if anybody want to call in and have a comment to say. You know what I mean? I'll let y'all get a comment in, man. Because I know y'all want, yeah, I guarantee you most people say this stuff. Their wife look at them like they crazy. Talk about put khimar all around you. Put khimar all around you. All right, look at, I'm not putting on that khimar. No! You know, khimar ain't no desert. I got to do the khimar demonstration because I like khimar. No khimar. No khimar. Hold on. One more thing. Okay, here we go. I'll put the phone up there, right? I'm not wearing no khimar. We ain't in no desert. I'm wearing no khimar. Hey, let everybody hit this thumbs up. I never say hit the thumbs up, man. I appreciate everybody on here. I want everybody to hit the thumbs up, man. You know, y'all gotta watch me. Sometimes I get worked up. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, you know one thing that makes me mad more than ever, not really mad, one thing that disturbs me more than ever is that people get caught up, man, in, call back, sis. That was a mistake. people get so caught up, man, in sticking to things the way they used to be, that when you come with new information, or when you come with critical information, you know, people seem to they don't want to make the adjustment. They don't want to make the adjustment. You know what I mean? Now check this out. Before there was a prophet named Muhammad, may peace be upon him. Before there was a prophet named Muhammad, peace be upon him, there was people wearing khimar. There was our people wearing khimar. They was covering themselves because the desert was a rough place to live. Islam, sis, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, that was a very good show. But I wanted to share with you, I used to be a part of the Sunni organization, and I got out because it was very oppressive. If you was on your cycle, you couldn't pray. Brothers were allowed to put their hands on you. And I would put some hot ones in the brother, put his hands on me. That's why I left.
What happened? What they do?
What they did, they told you you couldn't pray if you was on your cycle, number one.
You can't.
That you were considered dirty.
You can't communicate with God.
Huh?
So you can't communicate with the Almighty God on your cycle. What?
That's right. That's right. You couldn't pray if you was on your cycle.
God off. God take days off or something. I can't talk. Oh my.
Yes, that's how it was. The brothers was allowed to put their hands on a female, a sister. I didn't tolerate that. I'll put some hot ones in the brother, put his hands on me. That's why I left.
Good.
That's why I left, because I straight up told him if a brother put his hands on me, I am licensed to carry a weapon. I have one, and I will use it. And I left, and I was living in California during that time.
Oh my!
They even talk about it's all right to beat your wife during Ramadan. Yes.
Now, the weird thing to me is that how they try to pull this out of the Quran. These things are not in the Quran. Even reading this, the way that I'm reading it, he's reading something different, and it amazes me. It amazes me that when this says, it says that you should draw the veil over your adornments, over your bosom. Draw the veil over your bosom. And the word for veil is khimar. And when you look in a dictionary for khimar, it just means something that covers. But he's going to make khimar to mean that it's a whole outfit. Like, and people go for this.
A brother asked, what am I talking about? Hello?
Uh-huh.
A brother just asked what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about when I was a member of the Sunni community. That's what I'm talking about. You couldn't pray when you was on your cycle. You couldn't pray. Brothers were allowed to put their hands on their wives. I wasn't tolerating that. And that still goes on in that community. They even ask questions, can you beat your wife through Ramadan? That is real. It's very oppressive there. They oppress the women. And it's coming from the east. It's coming from them Arabs over there who they follow.
Oh, the brother said he wasn't saying like that what you talking about, but he's like,
okay.
But the thing is though, sis, see, my mission is this, and I want you to stay on the line, sis. See, my mission is this. My mission is to try to give people an alternative concept of what they've been taught that has been misleading. You know, when you're talking about the Holy Quran in Mecca, I know that the Holy Quran do not speak to a woman veiling herself up and speaking and peeking through a veil like we see on the most extreme levels. Now, if a woman want to do that, that's on her. But let's not say that's the demand of God or the command of Allah, because that's not true. You know what I mean? Now, if somebody has manipulated you to believe that, then okay, that's what you want to do, fine. But I'm telling you that this not saying that. And if you read it long enough and you pray on it long enough, twice as hard, then it will be revealed to you that you've been tricked, bamboozled, and hoodwinked. Now on the second thing, sis, tomorrow I'm going to do the show about Turtle Island. You know, we had a conversation about Turtle Island, right?
Yeah. I'm still, the jury is still out on that because my issue, okay, I told you I came into More Science by way of my husband. He was a part of the organization for 30 years. He was a bona fide Moor. He loved Timothy Dingle Ill. Timothy Dingle Ill made him a peace officer. That's how astute my husband was. But he passed on. And he told me to continue carrying his name, when he passed on. Even if I don't believe in or agree with everything, because I don't agree with everything. I love what you do. That's why I support you. But that Turtle Island thing is something. And what you posted, that the Pharaoh of Egypt gave y'all permission to inhabit this land. Now that's what I have a problem with, because you had, I don't like to use the word originals already here.
Right.
How you gonna take land from the original?
Okay.
How you gonna,
hey sis, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna touch on Turtle Island tonight for 30 minutes just for you. I'm gonna touch on it tonight just for you. 30 minutes. All right.
Okay.
So I want you to sit back and watch, and then I'll let you call back in and give me your understanding as it may build as I make this presentation real quick, because I'm gonna do it real quick.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Islam. Islam. That's my sister there, man. That sister right there, she a shotgun. I'm trying to tell you. Sister is a shotgun. But anyway, let's get into this Turtle Island real quick. You know what I mean? Let me get into this Turtle Island real quick, and then I'll come back and do a show. But I can do it in real briefly. You know what I mean? First of all, I don't have to do it all the way. First of all, this idea of Turtle Island, it comes out of the tribes, the native tribes, if you will, of North America. Now, some people try to say that Turtle Island represents the whole world, when in actuality, it represented the world of the natives here in North America. Now, here it goes. It says, according to Iroquois oral history, Sky Woman fell down to the earth when it was covered with water. Various animals tried to swim to the bottom of the ocean to bring back dirt to create land. Muskrat succeeded in gathering dirt, which was placed on the back of a turtle, which grew into the land known today as North America. In the Seneca language, the mythical turtle is called Ha-Naha, while the name for everyday turtle is Ha-Noa. Now, this is where you get Turtle Island from. Now, it's pretty much recent where this old tradition has been passed down. And so when people try to say Turtle Island represents the whole world, no, Turtle Island represents North America. And as you can see, they would say that this resembles a turtle. You know, this would resemble a turtle. This would they would say, let me cut this real quick. They say this resembles the turtle right here. And this is supposed to be a satellite view of North America. So, and they're saying that it resembles a turtle. So this way you get the concept of Turtle Island from. Now, this is the satellite view right here. So very similar, you know what I mean? No harm, no foul. But my thing is that I'm not knocking the folklore or the tradition of the Iroquois or the natives of this country. You know what I'm saying? Which we are rightfully so a part of to some degree. We have the blood running through our veins. Now, on the flip side of that, when you look at the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, now this is where we have to understand the difference come in. When we look at the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, 1 second, let me pull this up real quick. When we look at the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the Holy Quran, this is the problem that this is where the sister says she had a problem with. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali makes this statement right here. He said, the Moabites from the land of Moab who received permission from the Pharaoh to settle something, meaning that either something was there or maybe nothing was there. The jury is out. But listen to the context. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs to inhabit it in northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren who sojourn from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion, now remember this, the pharaohs gave these Moabites permission to inhabit it, what is now Morocco, and it's going to tell you their dominion. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast, southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, Central America, and Mexico, and the Atlantis Islands. But this is the key word, before the great earthquake. It's saying that the Moors was given permission. The Moabites was given permission in this land that we call North America before there was an earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. What exactly is Prophet Noble Drew Ali referring to? What Prophet Noble Drew Ali referring to is what Europeans try to refer to in this day and time. It's called Pangea, if you will, or some would say Atlantis, or whatever the case may be. So this is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is referring to when he said their dominion. Now remember, this is Egypt. He's saying that their dominion extended from north, west, southeast. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I get it right. Let me make sure I get it right. Give me 1 second. Make sure I get it right real quick, because I don't want to mess it up. Let me get it right real quick. I don't want to mess this up. Let me get it right. All right. Now bring it on back real quick. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says this. It says, their dominion and habitation extended from northeast, that will be over here, to southwest, that will be over here, across the great Atlantis, that'll be over here, that'll be over here. You see, this North America. Let me open it up for you. Across the great Atlantis, remember this is the Atlantic Ocean, across the great Atlantis, even into the present North, South, and Central America, and the Atlantis Islands, which would be Jamaica, Haiti, and et cetera, before the great earthquake would cause the Atlantic Ocean. And the Atlantic Ocean would be right here. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is saying is that the people that we call the Native Americans, that the European call the Native Indians or American Indians, these are us who had migrated in ancient times out of Egypt. The pharaohs of Egypt out of ancient, and it may or may not been the term of the location may not have been called Egypt, because we know Egypt is a Greek term, and we know that in order to associate or bring forth understanding, these terms must be applied so we know what we're talking about, the geographical location. Even we know Pharaoh is not indicative of the inhabitants of Africa, if you will. But nevertheless, the prophet's saying that we migrated over here before anybody known as a European even thought about coming out the caves. So when we look at the Native Americans, if you will, these are our people who migrated out of what we know to be Africa today. Now, when you look at Africa today, this is a demarcation line designed by the European. So when you look at the demarcation line designed by the European, you will see that Africa and Asia is one piece of land. You will see that Africa and Asia is one piece of land. So it's not denying Africa when a Moor said that he's Asiatic. It's denying the lie where the European put the demarcation line in place and had us to identify according to his qualifications. So the prophet saying that man came out of this area, which is consistent with all historical data. He said this is the ancient land of Canaan over here. The Nile Valley is a part of the ancient land of Canaan. The Nile Valley is a part of the ancient land of Canaan. So he's saying that we migrated. We were given permission from the rulers, our people, to inhabit and to settle in this area. So that's what he's saying. He's not saying that we came and dominated, conquered, and took over in the sense of what Europeans did. He's saying that in ancient times, this is what we did. We traveled and traversed the earth. And that is what you would call when everything was one. And then we got the dividing of the continents. But the Prophet Noble Ali said, across the great Atlantic. And the key word is before the great earthquake that caused the Atlantic Ocean. In other words, there was no Atlantic Ocean when we migrated out of this area, which we know today as Africa, into the area of which we know today as North America, South America, and Central America. Which brings me to the Turtle Island demonstration. Turtle Island is indicative of a creation story that comes by the way of the Aboriginals, if you will, or the original people that was over here during the Continental Divide. Once the Continental Divide happened, if you will, there were people here. They began to metamorphose into their unique culture that was driven or given out of the ancient land of which we know today as Africa, the Nile Valley, the ancient Canaanites. And that's why pyramids are here. That's why teepees look like pyramids, because they took the science from across the ancient lands of Canaan, the ancient land of the Nile Valley. They took it with them. They took it with them. And so my thing is, when people begin to talk about Turtle Island, what you're doing is you're taking a folklore that was developed after the Continental Divide, and you're superimposing it on Moorish science. When Moorish science saying that you were here before this folklore developed. You are the original. You are the one that came to settle and inhabit this land. You are the one that the Europeans don't want you to know that you were already here in North America. You were already here by the way of settling and inhabiting and traveling from this region over to there. So even when you look here, our people named this area Eurasia. Our people named that. The European didn't name nothing. Our people named that. And how do you get Eurasia? You get Eurasia because the mainland, the main inhabitable continent was, or landmass was all Asia. All Asia. And when you look at Eurasia, it was cold. That's Europe. Look at Eurasia, that was cold. These Europeans came out of these mountains, came out of this cold. and beginning to habit it down here. Begin to come up on the shores around here. Begin to make friends. We begin to accept. But our people identified this landmass that you call North America, South America, Africa, India, Australia. Our people named this continent Asia in ancient times. And that's where you get the term Asiatic from. There was no Africa. Africa is new. And we accept it, run with it, hook, line, and sinker. That term Africa is new. It's America. That's a new term. And until we understand that, we will not let this divide and conquer thing continue to take shape. We allow it to take shape. We allow it to take shape because we don't understand that we are one people. That we are one people coming from one source of existence. First and foremost, from God. Secondly, from God. First from God. Secondly, we migrated from the land of Canaan, which is consistent with the Nile Valley. We allowed the European to call this Asia and call Africa, Africa. But when you look at the ecology of the Nile Valley, and you look at the ecology in Mecca, and you look at the ecology in Ethiopia, it's all one in the same. It's all one in the same. This is why Prophet Muhammad escaped to Ethiopia. He escaped to Ethiopia because that was his brothers. He escaped to Ethiopia because that was his family. See, we're the only one that allowed the European to misinterpret and flip something and for his benefit. The European flips this to his benefit, and we grab onto Africa and won't let go. Grab onto the concept that this landmass is what unites us. And the Prophet Noble Drali says it in the back of the Quran. This is the uniting of Asia. This is the uniting of Asia. We have been so tricked to believe that Asia is indicative of a Chinese person, of a Korean person. But that's the Far East, as the European called it. He divides that and calls that Asia. And then he calls the Middle East, so he can divide the Chinese, the Korean, the Japanese from the people in the Arab world. You divide them. And then you take Africa, you divide them, you chop that up. And then you take North America, South America, you divide that and chop that up. And then at the end of the day, we fighting against each other. At the end of the day, we know that we had a culture that was universal. We know that the people that they called the Indians, the Native Americans, we know that they addressed climate appropriate. We know that our people in Africa addressed the clothes that they were climate appropriate. Yet in the world today, under the terms and the names of religion, we don't dress climate appropriate. We don't dress common sense appropriate. We just say the book says this because someone said that the book says this, and now we do it. So when we're talking about Turtle Island, that's a good folklore story. It's excellent for those who are right there. But we are the founders of civilization. We came out of the womb of the mother and fathers of the universe. We did. We did. We came, we the ones that developed civilization. So when people, this is why, you know what I mean? This is why I've held back so long not to come at my brothers from the Nile Valley. You know what I mean? I've held back so long. You know, when they come at the Moors, I try my best not to come at them because I know that they don't understand. They so much in the defense of Africa that they deny the rest of our lands. They so much in the defense, and those who want to be in the defense of being indigenous to America, they denied the rest of our home. They denied the rest of our home. They get so dewy-eyed and caught up in defending the Native and North America real estate that they forget the rest of it. And then Africa, the brothers that want to claim Africa, they get so caught up into protecting the African real estate that they forget the North American, South American real estate. But the Moorish American, we say we Asiatics. We say this is all Asia. This is all ours. We say this is all ours. We know that the European named this Africa. We know that the European, or those that the Europe, whether people want to say, okay, America, a Moor, a Mir, a this, that, and the other, but heck, the European is in control of it right now. He's in control of it right now. And the only way we are going to even stand a chance within the next 100 years, 200 years, we're going to have to come together and understand that these concepts are fake. These concepts are fake. That Asia over here is a part of Africa. Asia is a part of Africa. Africa is a part of Asia. And the original name from our people in the vernacular of today is Asia. And we are Asiatics because we were born out of the womb of this land right here, which our ancestors, ancient times, ancient times, called Asia. We allowed the Europeans to divide us and conquer geographically as well as intellectually. And we continue to do it. So being a brother get on the show today, I'm saying that some of these things are unnecessary. You know, some of these things that we look at today are unnecessary. You know, putting restrictions on how a person dress and then blame it on God. That's not universal. That's not universal. You know, because if you tell me that if a person don't dress like that, if a person don't dress like that, what do they go to hell? Are we back? You see, that's when it becomes Chrislam, not Islam. It becomes Chrislam. Because when you tell me that if a woman don't dress like God prescribes them to dress, the alternative is to go to hell. Well, my question becomes, suppose someone lives in the forests of South America. They never heard of Prophet Muhammad. They never heard of the way a woman got to cover herself. Matter of fact, they not even caught up with the physical adornments of a woman. They still hunters and gatherers. They still just trying to maintain their sense of peace without the European coming to chop down the trees and take their habitations, take their land in which they inhabit. They don't know anything about that. But they treat each other nice. They raise their children. They even find a European on the side of the road. They bandage them up and bring them back to life. But because they don't wear what we want to try to say is a khimar to cover your head and your chest, is that a sin? Man, we got to wake up. We got to wake up. You know, again, Turtle Island is a folklore story that represents a geographical location known as North America. We are the caretakers of the planet, not just North America. A folklore story is not sufficient for who we are. It's just not. It's a good story. It's a good story. It's a good story for Taj Tariq to run around with. It's a good story for Sabir Bey to run around with. It's a good story for those who want to claim just the indigenous part of their bloodline as it relates to North America. It's a good story. But the Moorish story is that it's all ours, that we developed it all. That our people, whether you call yourself Moorish or not, that our people migrated out of the ancient land of Canaan that's in association with the Nile Valley, that we migrated out there and we took on the world by storm and developed it. When will the time come that we're going to do it again? When will the time come when we do it again? Turtle Island can't contain us. We are global people. We can respect the folklore. We can respect the elder stories. But at some point in time, we need to build upon what the elders left behind. And the next level is we need to get back into the consciousness to know that we are global people. It is what it is. Inshallah, the sister's still listening. Hopefully she'll call back. It is what it is. I'm going to be out of here in about 7 minutes. But shout out to my brother Issa, who had the ability to call in. I appreciate him for calling in. I still believe he was wrong. Matter of fact, I know he's wrong, and I know he's going to stick with it because that's all he know. That's all he know. All he know is to defend what he's been taught. Now, my thing is, I'm not trying to defend what I was taught. If I thought that it was universal, then I would consider it. But just like I said, if somebody is in the island off of Tahiti and had no association with Allah as it relates to identifying Allah, no association with Muhammad, what I mean by identifying Muhammad, and they didn't do the things that is described in the Holy Quran, do they enter the fire? And the things that I'm talking about is the customary things, the dress. If they don't dress like you say, the Quran say them to dress, do they go to the fire? Of course not, because the Quran doesn't represent that. The Quran represents a universal knowledge, a universal creed, a universal principle. The Quran is not culturally indicative. The Quran does not, the cultural part of the Quran does not supersede the spiritual element of the Quran and the principle of the Quran. The principle of the ayat, what we read in that Quran, was trying to make sure that women were protected. That's what that was all about. But through the ayat that was put in place to protect women, they actually use it in most cases to oppress women. In most places, they use it to oppress women. And that's the sad part, because Allah, by the will of Allah and through Prophet Muhammad, that ayat was put in place to protect women from some ratchet, no good, dirty men during that era of time. And now in this era of time, the same thing that was used to protect is now used to treat women greasy and oppress. With that, I'm gone, family. Good night. Hope y'all had a good show. Shout out to my sister Leo, my brother, her husband, my brother Milael. Shout out to all the people, man. Call Victoria in the state. Shout out, brother. I wish that everybody, if they can, if you've seen the in the comment section, there will be a link for the Moorish village. If anybody wish to donate, I would appreciate it. We are going to build this Moorish village on the ground here in Baltimore, where everybody will be able to participate in selling their goods and service in a central location, starting in Baltimore, and we're going to take it around the country. It is what it is. Peace and love, family. I'm tired now. I'm up out there. Brother worked me up, threw me off for a second, but I'm back. I'm back. Islam, peace and love. I'm out.